Hi guys, we're going to try to make a video. This is test 16A. I'm going to go through each problem and I'm going to write which number it is on the board. And if you got it right, you don't even need to watch. You can just fast forward right through it. So number one says a car traveled 176 miles on 6.4 gallons of fuel. They're asking for the average in miles per gallon. So remember, to do that, you're going to take 176 and divide by 6.4. Move my decimal over. Add a zero there. Decimal right here. I'm going to think to myself, 64 probably goes into 176 two times. Let's check. Okay, 48. Bring down the zero. I think to myself, well, 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 7 is 42. I'm going to try 7 times 64. 7 times 4 is 28. 7 times 6 is 42 plus 2, 44. We need to subtract. I have 32 left. I bring down another 0. And let's guess 5 for that one. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 6 is 30. Plus 2 is 32. And that is my answer, 27.5 miles per gallon. So that's number one. Okay. For the rest of these, I think I'll tell you the answer right away so you can make sure you have it right and then decide if you want to watch or not this very exciting video. So number two, the answer that they have, which is maybe a little different from some of yours, is they have 55 and 5/9%. I think I also would allow 55.5 repeating percent. All right, the way this works is there are 12 boys and 15 girls in a class. They're saying what percent of the students in the class are girls. So if there are 12 boys and 15 girls, I know the total in the class would be 27. If I'm trying to find the percentage of the girls, I don't even need to worry about the boys. Sorry, boys. We're going to have 15 out of 27. So now that makes it into a division problem then. So 15 divided by 27, I'm going to guess 27 goes into 100 about 4 times. I don't think it's quite 6, so I'm going to put 5. 5 times 7 is 35. 5 times 2 is 10 plus 3. I subtract, remainder of 15. Add a 0, bring it down. 27 goes into 150. It's going to be the same thing. And you notice it's just going to keep repeating. So what the book did at this point is they took this 15 and put it over 27. They reduced that. Divided both by 3, and then they got 5 over 9, which gave them that answer. Had you kept dividing, also remember to move the decimal place over when you make a decimal to a percent. Had you kept dividing, that's why you would have ended up with the 55.5. Okay, number 3. All right, this one the book had wrong. Surprise, surprise. But they said sketch a graph of this equation. Y equals negative x plus 3. Okay, there are two ways to do this. The way using the slope-intercept formula, which remember is y equals mx plus b, where b tells us the y-intercept and m tells us the slope. So knowing that, we know that the y-intercept equals 3. Okay, it goes along with this b here. We know that the slope here is whatever number is before x, which is negative 1. So slope equals negative 1. So we could graph using that all by itself. The other way to do these, if you're not totally sure about the slope-intercept, is going back to the way that you already know, drawing yourself a table. X is always on the left. Remember, we try to put something in there that is easy. So I'm going to put 0 for x. Y equals negative 0, which is 0. So y equals 0 plus 3. That means y is going to be 3. Let's substitute another one. How about if we try 3? So if I substitute 3 for x, y equals negative 3 plus 3. Well, then y equals 0. Okay, let's try 2. I'm going to substitute 2 for x, so negative 2 plus 3. Negative 2 plus 3 is 1. I'm going to try one more because it's going to help our graphing later. Let's just try 1. So if we say y equals negative, we keep that negative sign, 1 plus 3, this is going to be 2. So either way, I'm going to first graph it with this and then we'll check it with this. I should have sent graph paper home. If you have a printer that works, why don't you print some off to help you with this? For now, I'm just going to draw. All right, so 0, 3. My coordinate is 0, 3. The next one is 3, 0 that we have on here. 1, 2, 3, 0. The next one is 2, 1. 1, 2, 1. And the last one is 1, 2. 1, 1, 2. Okay. Had I had graph paper, my line would have been a little straighter, but you can see that it follows, kind of follows that line. And you notice it's a negative slope, which makes sense with this, right? You notice that the slope is negative 1. Notice that the y-intercept, if we're using it by checking this, intercepts at 3. Y-intercept 3, okay? Remember, slope is rise over run. If I just take 2 points and the rise is 1 and the run is 1, but it's negative because it's a downward slope, the slope is negative 1. So by doing it both ways, I don't know if any of you tried both ways, but by doing it both ways, you can check to make sure that you're right, even though the book had the wrong answer. So that is number 3. That was a hard one. All right, number 4. Solve and graph the solution on a number line. So we have number 4 here. It says negative 2x is less than 4. I know some of these confuse some of you because that sign's in there. Remember, like if there would be an equal sign in it, I think most of you would be like, oh, that's not a big deal. You solve it just the same way, except you keep this sign in there instead of equal. So remember, we want to isolate this variable, this x. We want to get it all by itself. To do that, I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2. Okay, so if you look at that, negative 2 divided by negative 2, you know, it becomes 1. It's gone. We have x is less than 4 over negative 2. What's 4 divided by negative 2? Negative 2. After you do that, you can graph it on a line. Remember, if you have a less than sign, you put an open circle, and x is less than negative 2. Notice if x is on the left, this is going to point and show you which way your line goes. It needs to go that way. Okay, that is number 4. Moving on to 5. The weight of the load varies directly with the number of boxes in the load. A load of 18 boxes weighs 600 pounds. What does a load of 12 boxes weigh? There are different ways to set this up, so maybe you did it differently than I did. But I'm going to set it up using a ratio. If 18 boxes is one of the variables we have, 12 is the other, and we know that 18 boxes weighs 600 pounds. We're solving for x. We're trying to find out what does a load of 12 boxes weigh. So you can cross multiply this way. 18x equals 600 times 12. So if I do 600 times 12 over here, I get 7,200. All right, and then I divide 7,200 by 18 because, again, trying to isolate that variable, try to get it all by itself. 7,200 divided by 18. Okay, I think to myself, 18 times what equals 72? I know 5 would be too big. Let's try 4. 8 times 4, we know is 32. 4 times 1 is 4 plus 3. It's really nice when it works out like that, because then we know this is 400. So the answer, X equals 400 boxes. So as soon as I started doing that, I was thinking that a bunch of you were like, Mrs. Shibbolhut, I did it a much easier way. And I'm guessing some of you did this. 18 boxes weighs 600 pounds. We could take 600 divided by 18. 18 goes into 60 about 3 times. 4, 60, 18 goes in, see, I like the other way better. Never mind. So that was going to end up being 33 and a third, and then you'd have to do some other multiplying, but I think the first way we did was better. All right, number 6. The sales tax rate is 8.5%. What is the total cost, including tax, of an item priced at $40.50? So this is the starting price. We know tax is 8.5%. Remember when we multiply percents to figure out something like this, we need to make them into decimals. Remember we moved the decimal place 2 places over. So we're multiplying by 0.085. I would allow you to use your calculator because this one is just, it'd be easy to make a mistake. So 0 times 5 is 0. 5 times 5 is 25. Should have put that there. 5 times 0 is 0. The 2. 5 times 4 is, 20. Another 0. 8 times 0 is 0. 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 0 is 0, but add the 4. 8 times 4 is 32. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I move my decimal over 5 places. And since money ends after the tens place, and since 2 is less than 5, I'm just going to get rid of that. The sales tax is $3.44. Notice in the problem they asked for the total cost. So I'm going to take the original cost, $40.50, and add $3.44. So my total is $43.94. All right, let's move on to number 7. Okay, probability. This is a fun one, I think. They're all fun, actually. A bag contains red marbles and white marbles. We have red, we have white, in a ratio of 3 red to 5 white. Okay, I'm going to right away add up my total. If there are 3, 5, red, white, my total marbles is 8. They are saying if one marble is drawn, what is the probability that the marble is not red? Okay, the only other choice for not being red is white, right? So the probability is 5 out of 8. That's all they need you to do for that. Had they said what is the probability that it would be red? 3 out of 8. But not red, 5 out of 8. Okay, that was 7. Number 8. All right, here we have a triangle. And they said one side is 7 inches. The other 2 sides are 24 and 25 inches. They're trying to see if the triangle is a right triangle. So what I need to do is take the longest side and assign that as my hypotenuse. So let's call this the hypotenuse, 25 inches. This is 24. In order for this to be a true right angle, a right triangle, remember the Pythagorean theorem, blah, 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 which is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So think about how to solve that. I need to figure out if this squared plus this squared equals this squared, and then I can answer yes, it is a right triangle. 7 times 7, I think we all know, let's call that A. 7 times 7 equals 49. B would be 24. Maybe some of you can do that in your head. That one is a little hard for me. So 576. And I think some of you already know that 25 times 25 is 625. So let's see if this equation is true. Is 576 plus 49 625? 6 plus 9 is 15, carry the 1. 7 plus 4 is 11, plus 1 is 12, and it is. So this statement is true. 49, this squared, plus 576, this squared, equals 25 squared. So your answer for this one is yes. And for your explanation, you can say because it works out with the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, we're going to do 2 more, and then we're going to stop this video because it might be getting kind of long. You can take a break after 10. All right, number 9. Number 9 says, the carpet costs $18 per square yard. So I'm going to put $18 on the top, yard on the bottom. They very nicely tell us how many unit multipliers to use. It says 2, so I'm going to set that up. And they want our answer to be in cost per square foot. Remember, when you're doing unit multipliers, the work is setting it up. Okay, once it's set up correctly, I shouldn't say pretty easy, easier to do. We have to figure out, this is square yards. We want it in square feet. Remember, if we want to get rid of square yards, we need to cross cancel. So I'm going to put 1 yard here, another yard here. Remember, we want to end with feet. So we don't want to get rid of that. We're going to keep it here. So when I multiply foot times foot, I get square feet. The only thing I need to do in setup yet is to figure out what numbers go here. And I think to myself, how many feet in 1 yard? And that is 3. So I fill them both out like this. Okay, before I solve this, I can cross out anything that I can get rid of. So square yards, there's 1, there's another one. Okay, I can combine these. I'm multiplying, so it ends up being $18 over 9 feet. Okay, and then from there, I can divide 18 divided by 9. We know that becomes 2 over feet. So we get rid of that 9. 18 divided by 9 is $2 per square foot, which is the cost of the carpet. Okay, number 10. This one some of you had trouble with, and I have to admit these are not my favorite either. So let's check this one out carefully. Number 10. If the dimensions of a rectangle are increased by 100%, then the area of the rectangle is increased by what percent? Remember last time I told you it helps me, and remember a square is a rectangle, so this will work. It helps me by making a shape where we can that equals 100. Just to kind of get in my head that the original area is 100%. It's the whole amount. So notice what the dimensions are of this. 10 times 10 gives us an area of 100. They said we're increasing the dimensions by 100%. If they're 10 and that's 100% already, increasing them by 100% would mean that they would be double the size they are. So the dimensions would become 20. Does that make sense? If 10 is 100% of 10, adding another 100% would make it 20. So if these are the new dimensions, they're saying what is the area? If this is 100 square units, 20 times 20 will be 400 square units. Okay, that is not my answer yet, because look what they're asking for number 10. It says, if the dimensions of a rectangle are increased by 100%, the area is increased by what percent? So we need to take this area, subtract this area, and our answer is 300%. Okay? They're asking for the increase. This one is 300% bigger than this. And that kind of makes sense if you make this one, and it doesn't always work like that, but if you make this one worth 100 by itself, 100 units, you can kind of see that this one is 300 units bigger. So hopefully that'll help. All right, I am going to turn this off, and I'll be right back with number 11.